you, Aditya. Professor Vaidyanathan left. You should not have a session before and after lunch, but we'll try to keep it as engaging as possible. The topic for the discussion today with the fellow members is what's the dream model for a family office? And I think I'll start with Mitesh, who is associated with Credence Family Office, on how does a client assess a family office and what is his
in India. Vis-a-vis what is there in the developed markets. Some quick statistics, which have been given to understand. You're looking at about 3,000 family offices in the US and over $1 trillion in assets under supervision, as against less than 200 in India, with a fraction of that wealth. So at the outset, it's a very, very nascent stage, right? So that's point number one. Is there an opportunity for us to grow? Yes, there is a tremendous opportunity for us to grow. There is less than 20% penetration in India on the family office space. Over 6 lakh crore of intergenerational transfer. I'm sure Tariq will be able to elucidate on that further. So there is a huge opportunity. Having said which, I think the biggest issue that clients face even today is to understand or differentiate between an asset manager and a family office manager, right? Because your lines are very, very blurred. One needs to clearly differentiate what an asset manager needs to do vis-a-vis what a family office intends to do. Needs to understand the fact that the primary objective of a family office manager is to identify the best investment manager and portfolio manager for you and not to do that yourself. So to that extent, there is still a lot of, there's a lot of hand-holding, there's a lot of education that needs to be done with the client families. But having said which, yeah, things are getting much, much better.
And has the family office has evolved, or is it still in a very nascent stage?
Well, if you step back a couple of years and you look at the way our entire market has developed, it's pretty evident that there has been a lot of maturity which is seeping in general across the environment. We find this maturity even coming into place within the family office sphere. There is definitely a better understanding of family office than that was maybe a couple of years back. I would say that gradually there's been an exponential growth in the way people are going about approaching this concept, and that is certainly encouraging. There's certainly a much higher degree or need for more diversified products. Our reliance on managers has gone about to an unprecedented amount of care is taken to go to identify where they're going right or going wrong. And if you look back again and just seeing how certain trends have gone about playing through, in the past, people were very top-down in their approach, but now they're going bottom-up. They're trying to understand, okay, where is the nitty-gritty, where lies the devil in the details, trying to address those issues. And this is where I think a family office really comes about playing a very important role, trying to understand, is the manager behind the entire investment as good as the investment itself? So certainly, I would say it's been very encouraging last 2-3 years, and the way things are moving across, I only see it growing at a much faster clip than what we've had in the last couple of years.
Just to add to what you have said, I think one encouraging sign that we've seen at least in the last year or so is the kind of questions that clients ask us. Like 4 years back, 5 years back, the differentiation between an investment manager and the family office manager was just not there. But in the last 12 months, me and my team have spent inordinate amount of time to build up family constitutions, to look at tight fencing the entire succession planning structures that are put in place, to things where, in terms of training the next generation, looking at, education, right kind of education colleges for the, next generation of the people, the kids, so on and so forth. Obviously, these are the kind of questions that a family office should be asked, predominantly, right? That definitely shows that there is graduation in a client's understanding of what a family office is supposed to do as well. So that's been a very, very healthy and encouraging sign.
Okay. Taking family office in Indian context, globally it's a well-defined, a mode of identifying an investment manager and then identifying a right family office. So taking Indian context, are the clients still willing, or because Indians bulk of the issue remains with the promoter or with the family, within the family. Are they now willing to give it to outsource to a family office, and the entire communication, is it clear, or there is something that gets held with the family and a family office has to deal with a limited number of, limited information of what he has on a domain?
If you look at promoter mindset in general, family office mindset, forget family office, you just look at the capital markets itself, the way Indian companies are run today. There's a much higher degree of professionalism which has come through professional boards, professional management through and through. When it comes to managing one's own wealth, they're even more careful. So certainly I would say that they're coming to realize that it's no more going to be just me and myself, or there is the concept of getting into the family office structure is so that you have professional help available to you through and through. It's not a one-man show, it's basically a committee or a group of people come together who run the entire operation. I think that is very clear, and promoters are coming to realize the benefit of having a structure in that sense. Where I feel that we still have a long way to go is with the Indian regulations. What today is your guiding factor? How does the government go about making or giving this entire concept a little bit more of a regulatory leeway? There are still a lot of issues. For example, we have the investment advisors which come through at this point in time. In my opinion, it's still a gray area. There are certain places in which it's very clear as to what their mandate can extend to, in some places not so. And these are issues which I guess as a still growing country we will have to go about trying to address, but I'm hoping that the regulations would come along and give this entire asset class a much more required leg up.
So that leads me to my next very important. So one is identifying the family office and the promoter having a say on what does he want and what doesn't want. Second is alignment of thoughts between what the family wants and as an advisor. So how important is it and how easy it is to come on the same page of what the promoter wants it? Because typically in India, entire family, the family background comes from a wealth preservation, and a family office will come with the concept of wealth creation. So the misalignment of thoughts starts from there. So how easy or how difficult it is to align thoughts?
There's this little adage that I like to go back to. The best way to preserve capital is to grow capital. Right? But with any new structure, when you come across, this is more like a program. Right? Starting off a family office is not just making a mere investment in the next big opportunity. It's trying to go about inculcating a mindset, a repetitive process, which would go about running itself through and through and through. You have to go about giving a family office a lot of time to mature out, to understand this is what I really want to go about achieving, and this is how I want to go about doing it. I think any new family office manager engaging with a family office should understand that it takes a gradual amount of time so that you understand firstly what your clients need and then go about getting them aligned with your process. Over here, I think the main thing to focus on is the core aspect of delivering on your objective lies with the office manager. The family office, the owner of the family office, the promoter of the family office is merely the enabling factor. But that's the entire concept. Get in managers who can go about doing the best given their skill sets. So give it some time, be gradual, and you should have a good setup in place.
Because the first thing that we do, when we get a client on board, is to ensure that there's an investment policy statement, to ensure that there is a vision and mission which is articulated and also which is documented. There are two aspects to it, right? One is what the family member wants at the same time. The second is also how the successive beneficiaries of the family see the entire vision and thought process. So first of all, it's very important and it's critical that at least the core members of the family and successive beneficiaries are on the same page in terms of what a vision and mission statement needs to be. And further to which you got to, like Harsh said, you've got to keep refining it over a period of time. So for example, right, in our own experience, we have two very, very similar profile families, both listed company promoters in the 2,000 to 4,000 crore market caps. One of the promoter family has given us a mandate as far as their investments is concerned with a very strict objective that there is adequate equity exposure that we are taking through our business. So the family office monies has to look at alternate and fixed income instruments. On the contrary, we have a mandate from, again, very, very similar profile family saying that, hey, look, this is money for the next generation and we have a 15, 20 year time period. So, let's grow the business, or sorry, grow the personal wealth in the same way. So classical case where you have your profiles which are very, very similar, but then the vision and mission is completely different. You're not trying to argue as to one vision is better than the other, but the idea is that it needs to come along at some point in time.
Okay. Tariq, to you, especially when we talk about family offices and the way we approach family offices, the first person we approach is the chief investment officer. Okay, so how does estate planning, trust services come into picture when we are approaching, when someone is approaching a family office? So how does your services come into picture? Okay. Because everyone is chasing their returns, everyone is chasing their investments, everyone is talking about investment management.
See, most of the people, when they look at family offices, like very rightly said by Mitesh and Harsh, it's not only the investment, it's also the management. There's a very clear-cut demarcation between your investment advisor and your family office. So clients are maturing and understanding that difference. Sorry. Clients are understanding that difference. At the same time, when you're talking about a family office, it's also a part of, very important part of managing your assets over a period of time. How your assets will get passed on to the next generation. I mean, investments is one bit of it, but preserving those assets, passing it on to the next generation, restructuring of the businesses if the need be. We've come across a lot of families who are doing very well, very large families in India, but the next generation is not interested in continuing the business. Or the next generation is probably overseas, and how the inheritance tax would work in his favor because he's gone and settled overseas now. What would the succession route be in terms of planning it in that way? There's someone, probably two brothers, one's got equity as well as sweat in the company, the other brother's just got sweat, equity in the company. How will the succession happen in that part? So it's a complete gamut of solution given to the client in terms of how the wealth that he's made over a period of time with the help of the family office, the wealth that he's growing over a period of time, how that will get passed on to the next generation. If the immediate beneficiaries are not interested in the business, corporatizing that business into a particular way where the benefits yet come to the family, but the business is yet run in a more corporatized manner. Restructuring and realigning of those thoughts with the next generation, restructuring, realigning the succession part. All of that becomes very crucial when you're talking about offering a solution to a family.
And how easy or difficult it is when you're talking about reassessment and restructuring of the entire, because there is a thought process involved. So you'll have a family member who would have done it at a particular thought process, and then you have a younger generation who would have running a different thought process about it. So how do you align thoughts?
See, getting a blend between the two is very important. I mean, we've had a lot of discussions with the families where we've tried to get them on a common platform. We've tried to understand from the senior members of the family what they want. We've also tried to understand from the young generation, the next generation from the family, that this is what has been left behind for you. How would you want to inherit it? So getting them on the same platform, it's very difficult to actually get the entire family agreeing on something or agreeing on something always. But the idea behind this whole exercise is to have a neutral person like a family office or a trust company or someone who's actually facilitating the entire deal, who's not leaning towards any one person. At the same time, there are differences of opinions. I mean, today between a son and a father, for all means, there will be some difference of opinion because of a generation gap. But that would always continue. But at the same time, getting it on the right platform, I mean, getting the children from a small age understanding what the businesses are, getting the children from a younger age understanding what the family values are, instigating those values in them, and continuing the change, or getting into a common room and thrashing out ideas or thoughts, and then getting into implementation stage. That is the last thing to do. The first thing and the most important thing is to understand what they want and how to implement that.
That's where a family constitution is also playing a vital role. So I'm sure Tariq will be able to illustrate it better. But the idea is that a lot of investors or promoters spend a lot of time having boards for their companies, which is the obvious thing that everybody would do to grow. But I think there is a growing need in India now to constitute boards on the family side as well, which is how you lay out a charter and that's how you lay out a family constitution. The good part there is that you have an independent board, and every member of the family knows that the board is functioning without any prejudice, without any vested interest, and is purely going to function in the best interest of the family. So there are ways and means to get people on the same page, and there are tools available in terms of family boards and family constitution to help that as well.
Okay. I mean, just families are really open to ideas now. Everybody is looking at solutions. Everybody is looking at creative solutions. I mean, if I have to really look at statistics, 2006, 2007, when I used to meet clients, probably out of 10, one client used to even listen that something like a trust is good for him, something like a succession planning or a family constitution is important for his family. But in the last 10 years, from 2015 now, the kind of clients you're meeting, I would say that without exaggeration, 7 out of 10 are willing to spend time with you and understand what it is, and probably 5 out of them are even willing to implement it. And that's by itself a huge number change. And we can see that over a period of time that will only improve. Families are open to new
So
ideas.
either coming out of genuine need for a family, or this is coming because the number of disputes within the family are increasing. So obviously everyone wants a succession planning that needs to be well documented.
There are 3 or 4 reasons. Sorry.
It's getting covered in the media every year.
Yeah, so I think it's more exposure leading to more number of queries at your end.
I don't think so. But there are 3 or 4 reasons that are driving this. One is that the awareness over a period of time has increased. The awareness could have increased because of the media exposures. The awareness could have been increased because of the issues that are more public in domain now. That's one. 2 is that a lot of children are now going to settle overseas. So the cross-border interest, inheritance tax internationally in the development countries is also one factor that is driving.
So how do you realign this offshore and onshore? So someone who is because migration, if half of the family is migrated, so how does the realignment come in that case?
When we're looking at restructuring, when there's offshore and onshore involved, it's very crucial to understand where the client would eventually domicile. Where would he eventually like to retire? Or that's one important criteria that you need to keep in mind. 2 is what kind of wealth he has and where is it? I mean, I may have a real estate in UK or I may have a real estate in India. At the same time, I may have my biggest business in India, but I may have small companies overseas. So it's spread into different geographical locations. So restructuring that and identifying where you are planning to domicile, understanding the laws that permit you to hold that kind of investment into the area where you've already invested, or where you plan to expand your business in the future, where would you probably want the children to reside, or where would you want to retire. So a lot of factors need to be taken into account.
Quite a lot of planning.
And then,
one needs to
yes,
completely plan in
it's
advance
total.
where will the child study and where will the child study.
No, most of these children are already, in the 20s, 25, 27, where they're somewhere indecisive, but close to making up their mind eventually what they want to do.